Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jonathan Vertonis. Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel, where in today's video, I wanted to break down 2 reasons as to why you are probably not getting the attention that you deserve in today's job market, and how to overcome this practically and take those next steps into getting better attention and then creating more opportunities with your job search moving forward. Now, the beautiful thing about this video, guys, is that these are principles and methods that you can be taking whether you are 20 years old trying to find your first full-time job, or 55 years old trying to secure your next senior position. So first things first is you are simply not applying enough. Okay. Now, I'm not going to tell you as a recruiter that you need to be applying to 5,000 jobs a day. Any spare time you have, just apply. Okay. I'm also not telling you to go out there and just start applying for any position out there in this world. Obviously, I always agree. It's better to just go through it like an extra couple weeks of not having the job that you're working or just waiting in that job that you want to leave, rather than just signing up to any next job straight away and then potentially wanting to leave 2-3 weeks later anyways. So the easiest thing I will tell you, okay, when you are in a job search, is you need to be understanding the amount of volume that you are putting out there. Okay, I recently hosted a webinar actually in regards to job searching, and if you're keen to join the next one, feel free to click that link below to register. But the biggest thing that we talked about was that there just wasn't enough people owning that, they weren't applying enough, or understanding that they weren't applying enough. So for example, what I'm talking about is, you could be telling me, Jonathan, I'm in a job search right now. The job market sucks. I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know what's not working, blah, blah, blah. And if I ask you, okay, well, how many jobs did you apply for in the last day? And you tell me 0. And I tell you, how many networking messages did you try to send out? And you tell me 0. And it's that same number for like 4 or 5 days. That's just nowhere near enough. A lot of people that I talk to that try to ask for coaching and whatnot, they tell me they're like, oh, I'm really looking for a job. I really want to try to find a new job, but there's nothing out there, blah, blah, blah. Even if there's not any actual job ads out there, you still have the ability to network. And network is the most amazing thing that you can be doing, because the more senior that you get, the more you realize that a lot of these jobs don't get closed by submitting an application, getting screened, getting interviewed, etc., etc. It comes from referrals. It comes from networking. You know what I mean? So you need to get on that game as soon as possible. I'll talk about that more with my next point. But the first point here is just controlling the volume of amount of applications that you are putting out there. Okay? Honestly, guys, if you are only applying once or twice a week, it is simply not enough. Okay? When I was trying to find my first full-time job, I knew I wanted to get into recruitment. Okay. Now, I understood as well that, maybe for the amount of recruitment jobs out there, there would be some recruitment jobs out there, but I could also maybe get in through HR, through talent acquisition, through sales. All right. So I was very lucky. I kind of had about like 3 or 4 different types of jobs that I knew were of interest to me that I could get into on an entry level. Okay. I promise you guys, I would go on Seek every single day. All right, I would be going on Seek every single day. All right, and I would be going through all the jobs that were in relation to my background, in relation to my experience. Apply. Okay. Now, did I get attention to most of these jobs? No, but it's the amount of volume. Okay, it's the exact same thing. And now, as I work in temporary recruitment for my normal 9 to 5. I understand, okay, that if I want to get more placements, if I want to get more doctors working for me, I need to make more calls. I can't sit there and make 10 phone calls a day or 10 cold calls a day. Or imagine you're in sales. You know what I mean? You can't make 10 calls a day and then get angry that you're not closing a deal. You know what I mean? The more you put in, the more you get back. All right. Now, I'm not telling you guys to then sit there and apply for 1,000 jobs a day, but I want you to take that principle of understanding of what you put out is what you're going to get back. Okay. And you may not see that return on investment straight away, but I'm telling you, let's say it's Monday. Monday comes in, you apply for 5 jobs. Okay, amazing. If you then do nothing for the rest of the week, you are just waiting for potentially 5 people to hear back from. Okay, imagine then you do 5 on Monday all the way through to Friday. That is now 25 people that you're potentially waiting to hear back from. Okay, you see how already that those numbers can already grow straight away just by upping your output that little bit more every single day. Okay, and how you should be doing this is holding yourself accountable. How do you hold yourself accountable? You add this into your schedule. This was something that I did every single day robotically. I knew, okay, whether I went to the gym, whether I had work, whether I had university, I knew that I would have to find 30 minutes in my day minimum to just spend applying for jobs, just to spend networking, just to spend trying to build connections. I knew that I had to do that right there and then, because in a week time or 2 weeks time, that could come back to me and I could then have a new opportunity in the pipeline. Okay, that is the single best way that you will do that. And that simply just comes from owning it every single day, that you need to be applying more. I can't say that enough, guys. You need to be applying for more jobs and more opportunities through networking, but also based around stuff that actually interests you. So making sure, obviously, that you know your end goal, you know your destination, and then just chipping away at it every single day, rather than going really, really hard one day and then forgetting about it for the rest of the week. It's the exact same thing if you're going to the gym, okay? You're not gonna go train one day of the week, do nothing for the rest of the week, and expect to look the exact same as the guy who's doing little, like really good, solid workouts every single day. It's exact same mindset, guys. So making sure you are owning that process as you're searching for a new job, okay? Secondly, is you have a fear of networking. Okay, now as I mentioned before, networking is the best thing that you can do. All right, now to me, networking isn't knowing your dad's mate who runs a company that is kind of in the field that you know, and you spoke to him once at a wedding and he's like to you, oh yeah, I'll keep you in mind for future opportunities. It's not talking to your friend who says, oh yeah, I might get into this one day, and you're like, oh yeah, if you do it, give me a call. That's not networking. Networking needs to be practical, okay? You need to be reaching out to these people. You need to be having conversations. You need to be having calls to action at the end of your messages, okay? There's no point just reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I'm looking for this job. Do you have any tips for me? It's a waste of a message. Tell them, hey, I'm Jonathan. I want to get into A, B, and C. I noticed your company because you guys prioritize X, Y, and Z just like me. Keen to understand if you're applying, if you're hiring, what are the key skills that you prioritize, or what are the things that you prioritize in an ideal type of candidate? Have you got 10 to 15 minutes in the next couple of weeks? I'd love to have a conversation with you. That's how you build a connection. You state who you are, you state why them, and then you give them something to work with practically at the end of that message. Okay. Now, how do you overcome that fear? You need to understand business is different to a social life. Okay. As I talked about on my webinar, which again, if you're interested in joining, feel free to click that link below. As I talked about in the webinar, your social life is different to business life, okay? We have this perception that business is just like social. So for example, make a bit of a joke here, but let's say you want to shoot your shot with somebody on Instagram, okay? You say, hey, how you going? And they ignore you, all right? Typically speaking, 9 times out of 10, none of us are gonna go send another message, okay? That's fine, okay? That's a social perspective. We get the hint, they've ignored us, we move on. Okay. In business, half the deals that you close come from following up. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that you follow up 30 minutes later. It means maybe after a week you follow up. Okay. So we have this fear that, if we send somebody a message, 1, we're disrupting their day. Okay. And 2, that if we send a follow up, we're like stalkers, we're creepy, we're annoying, it's harassment. It's not. You send one message, okay? You put yourself out there, especially if you're reaching out on LinkedIn, guys. That is the whole point of LinkedIn. LinkedIn was created to network. Okay, so if you're reaching out and you're talking business, do not be scared to do that, guys. I promise you, the amount of opportunities that are going to come from this will blow your mind, especially if you do it to a high volume and you're reaching out to the right people and you're staying consistent every single day. It's going to help you so much more compared to your competition who are too scared to even take that first step. Okay, so once we overcome that fear of networking, guys, I promise you, you are going to go places. Okay. These are just 2 things I wanted to break down in today's episode. I hope you guys got some value from it. If you are keen on learning more from me, feel free to click the links below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, and I will see you guys in the next episode.